Welcome to Reddit Recon. Today, we're going to look at 10 Unethical Life Pro tips, and you won't believe number 3. Well, you probably will, but hey, stick around and find out. The first one we're going to look at is number 10. This one is from Senor Splash Damage. Start a raccoon removal business by releasing raccoons from your first job in another neighborhood. Rinse and repeat. I think this folksy scam goes way back. To enhance, flyer neighborhoods ahead of time about a raccoon problem. Include a Fox News article about the problem and feature yourself as an incidental source on how to handle raccoons. Give tips, but say sometimes expert removal is the only effective option. Add some dummy accounts on Nextdoor with pics of trash cans knocked over at night to seed paranoia. Have a dummy account mention using a reliable exterminator, and leave a vague comment about being willing to share the name, but not so obvious that it looks like you're shilling. And make sure to reward the raccoons for their assistance with tiny peanut butter sandwiches. Also, if anyone catches on, just move towns and start over. Who wants to live around a bunch of suckers anyway? Alright, so I rather like this idea of having a raccoon army, maybe living out of an RV and going town to town unleashing raccoon havoc, then getting paid to capture my own raccoons? Man, this sounds like a win. Alright, here's number 9 from Seal Club Sandwich. Retail workers, if you carry a broom and a dustpan, or wheel around a mop bucket, nobody will bother you and you can look productive while doing nothing. Customers don't want to talk to the janitor. Managers will think you're taking care of something and not question you. I've legit spent hours walking a broom around Walmart and chit-chatting with coworkers, taking a few walks with a mop bucket as well, when I needed a break from the bullshit. I worked at a burrito shop in college. We had an employee who would get stoned after 8 p.m.'s dinner rush and spend an hour slowly mopping and sweeping. It's a small place and it only takes about 15 minutes, but whatever, it's slow. But as time went on, it would take him about 2 hours to do it. Management knew and found a reason to fire him. Alright, this one's pretty funny because in my first job, my boss really liked having a clean store, and this was a feed store with a large open pull-down door and a dirt parking lot. By the time I finished sweeping or dusting the store, the section I started in would need to be done again. So you could definitely break this down as just look busy and people will leave you alone. Alright, number 8 from Grit6 something. Visiting someone in the hospital? Stage a photo or two in their hospital bed for the perfect future sick, injured, don't want to excuse. It's dope. It costs nothing, but it's a very good excuse. I put the top 1/3 of my body on the hospital bed, placed a folded gown on my t-shirt, took a photo, and bam! I had the best visceral, quick, and effective excuse ever! Same thing for flat tires. Always take a sad selfie for the day in the future where you're actually going to be late and need an easy, provable, and great excuse. I'm not exactly sure what this person's trying to get out of. Probably work, or like they said, maybe if you're late, you have this excuse. Maybe this excuse could be good for getting out of a wedding you don't want to go to? Hey, sorry I can't make it, I'm sick in the hospital. Here's a picture for proof. I think this tip might be good for getting out of work, but I haven't worked somewhere where I needed to show proof like this, especially on the first time. Alright, number 7 from Restless. Missed garbage day? A good amount of apartment complexes and condo buildings have unlocked dumpsters. Pull on into the visitor spot and casually toss away your garbage bags. Obviously don't go dumping furniture, large items, or be dumping your garbage cans in there, but if you whip in and toss several bags like you live there, no one bats an eye. Obviously don't dump furniture and large items. If you're already doing some illegal dumping, then just go crazy. Dump off that old ass stained mattress. Who the hell is so lazy that they miss multiple trash days and have to go dump their trash at an apartment? I remember living in an apartment and trash day the dumpsters were already overflowing as it was. Hell, at this point, why not just walk around your street and find some trash cans that aren't full and start dumping your stuff in it? Alright, here's number 6 from some name I'm not going to bother reading because it doesn't make sense. If you have a desk job, keep an uncooked cup of noodles with the lid half on with a spoon in it on your desk so you can pretend to be on lunch break. 9:46 a.m. rolls around. Oh boy, time for my third lunch today. Hey, I don't think the boss knows about second breakfast. Alright. I think this one may actually be onto something. Except I'd probably had to do this between like 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. so that you're actually close to a lunchtime. I wouldn't recommend getting caught doing this like twice in the same day. I mean, unless you don't value your job, then do this all you want. Alright, number 5 comes from some irrelevant elephant. Use trial softwares forever with a VM. First, you create a virtual machine with an operating system of your choosing. After that, download the installer file for the trial software, but do not install it. Instead, you'll want to make a clone of this freshly installed VM. Once you have 2 copies of the VM without the software installed, install the trial software to one of them. You can then use this software for the trial period. Once the trial period is ended, delete the VM that you've been using, make another clone of the original VM without the installed software, and reinstall the software on one of the 2 VMs. Lather, rinse, repeat. Alright, this one might not really be that unethical, and actually it's a decent tip if you don't want to pay for the software. Sometimes you can also trick these trials by resetting the clock on your computer. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one. Number 4 comes from the Fukin Po. Don't do that much at work? Occasionally, change your status to in a call or a meeting to keep them thinking you're doing something. The thought just popped in my head this morning. With my job, sometimes I have to work a ton, and sometimes I have nothing to do for weeks. On days I've had a lot of calls, coworkers and supervisors take notice and preface requests by saying, "I know you had a long day with all those calls," or something along those lines. Ah, right. Here we go with another one of those trying to get out of working tips. I think you would definitely need to be working from home if you were going to do this. Another thing you could do is put some meetings on your calendar. Your manager can probably see the names of these things, so make sure they kind of relate to what you're doing. Or, you could totally just do your job. But hey, that's what these Unethical Life Pro tips are for. 56 Giants brings us number 3. Never complain or refuse when asked for help. Example, chores, volunteering, friend moving to a new place. Do it happily, but intentionally screw it up just enough that everyone thinks you're an idiot and never asks you again. Now don't go overboard and make it super obvious. Fuck it up just enough that it's an inconvenience for all involved, but not suspicious. There's an art to it. Ah yes, the good old do something wrong so you're never asked again trick. This is like one of the oldest tricks in the book. No idea what book. Maybe it's the book of How to Be a Shitty Person. I guess if you really hate doing something, then this might be the option for you. Like this comment right here. When I was a kid, my dad made me and my sister fold his socks. I don't like feet. We decided one day to match black and white ones, long and short. We even stretched and starched one of the socks out enough to be something you could hang on the mantle and get gifts stuffed in for Christmas. Dad folded his own socks after that. You could just use that sad picture of you in the hospital to get out of this one from number 8. Ah, sorry Dad, I'm in the hospital. Yeah, I can't be there to fold your socks today. Number 2 is brought to us from Wes Mantooth. When a company sends you a non-compete to sign, wait a couple days and send back the PDF without your signature. Oftentimes, they won't look. If they do notice, you can blow it off as a dumb accident. Okay, so this one's unethical, but if the company doesn't review the contracts that you sent back to them, that's totally on them. I wonder how many companies actually review these after you send them in, or if they just check that the signatures on each page and just say good enough. I remember reading a story about a guy that changed his credit card contract and sent it back to the company and they accepted it. Apparently he also won the lawsuit that followed that. Alright, and finally we have number 1 from Windows Steak. If you were crafting a lie, try to include a detail that makes you look foolish. It helps disarm skepticism. When lying, many people take the opportunity to make themselves look better. But if you add a little something that makes you look daft, people will be more inclined to believe it. Why would you lie about that? For example, if you're late home because you were banging your secretary, tell your wife you stopped for fuel but had left your wallet in the office, so you had to fill in a form at the gas station, then go back to get it. Yeah, OP's example is definitely never going to work out. Your wife ain't going to believe that. This one might just be the most unethical of all of them. I guess there's an art to lying, and Windows Steak has figured it out. I'm not sure how well this actually works, but it sounds like it would. It looks like the real tips are in the comments though. Less talk, less mistakes. If you're gonna lie as needed only. And keep it as close to the truth as possible so there are less details to track in the future. You're home late because you're banging your secretary? Now you're home late because you had to get a jump in the parking lot. Still at work with a simple explanation that eats time and doesn't leave room for many follow-ups. It looks like less talk, less mistakes will actually work for you too as well if you're trying to lie to cops. In police interrogations, they can tell if you're lying right away if you overshare details when asked a simple question. Example, why did you take an hour to drive a 15-minute drive? Answered by 15 minutes of you droning on about the technical state of your car or some shit. People do this compulsively as a coping mechanism to escape the mental discomfort of lying by allowing themselves to focus on true but pointless details. These lying tips are real great and all, but I would definitely suggest that maybe you just lawyer up and not lie to the cops? I think that this is definitely the most unethical life pro tip that we looked at today. While I still think having a raccoon army would be pretty damn cool, I wouldn't recommend doing any of these things. But hey, that's why they're called Unethical Life Pro Tips. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of content, please subscribe, and stick your raccoons on the like button. I'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.